there are also people on the left who don't want to buy into the idea that it's better for a person to be disciplined or physically strong or healthy, because the natural implication of that, at least along those lines, are that people who aren't those things are worse in at least those respects. The problem is, of course, is that being physically able is better than being physically unable. That is a fact. A physically able person can do more things. That is what disabled means. Less abled, not able. That's what the term means. That's not a moral failing, right? Like if a person has like bust legs and is in a wheelchair, like that doesn't mean they're lesser of a person. They're not less of a person, right? But they are less with regards to their ability to walk around and do leg stuff at the very least. I think this is like the centerpiece of this logic, because it stems out from this like broader leftist complex where some of them can't stand the idea of being told that there are better ways to live their life than the way they're currently living their life. Have you guys noticed that? Everybody is resistant to being told to live a better life because that involves work, and who likes work? But leftists often moralize it. They do this like weird, like, okay, by telling me to be disciplined, you're not only, imposing work upon me or being judgy or moralistic, but you're also like inflicting on me a right-wing standard of human behavior, you know? It's one of the reasons why I don't like the idea that some leftists push, the idea of like the perfect human life is one in which you never work and there's only leisure time and you can just smoke weed and play video games all day, because I think that's actually quite sad. And I think that for the most part, people are actually very lazy and very, I guess when people are lazy and unproductive, I think that it hurts them. See, this is me literally doing another like Marxist take here. You know, the Marxist concept of species being? That was his idea for what the like innate driving force of a species is when it comes to how it relates to the environment, right? So like any given animal, like a deer or a squirrel or a bug or whatever, might have like a specific set of biological protocols that it defers to when it comes to relating to its environment. And the thing that makes humans special is that we build our environment. That's the thing we do. We construct it. You know what I mean? No other animal can really do that. I mean, kind of. Like wasps can build nests. Beavers can build dams, sure. But nothing really compares to like the way humans construct their environment. We obviously do it in a very, very, very different way. So we do it much more extensively. The problem is, of course, is that you can construct it in good or in bad ways. So it's not like that's an innate good. It's just something that tends to drive people. I think that humans are ambitious. I think that we like being productive because it's possible to be both productive and leisurely, right? Like, you guys know the difference between productive leisure and lethargic leisure, right? Have you not had a lethargic leisure day where you just like slouched back into a couch and watched stuff and barely thought or moved, and like you spent 2 hours in a row laying there like needing to use the bathroom, but you were so lazy that you just kind of like laid there with a sort of like half full bladder before eventually you were like and then you got up and peed and blah 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 blah. And like, I think for the most part, days like that don't feel very good. They don't even feel very relaxing, and when the day's over, you don't even reflect on what you did because you didn't do anything. And then there are productive leisure days where you might like engage and feel like you spent some good time with friends or did something interesting, or you like worked on a project that you cared about. That's a constructive element of the human mind. We like building stuff. We like projects. That's one of the ways you fight off depression, you know? You fight off depression by setting tasks, goals, right? You set a standard and then you meet it. That's all of life, and it's also how you feel good. How do you deal with depression when you just wake up like that? I have videos on that, and I think it's doable. It's not easy, but it's doable, and it varies person to person. I just think people should, you know, try their best, do what you can, and, you know, it's good to work on yourself, always. Like, that's just a good thing to do. It's a good thing to care about and to work on and to believe in. It's better for you. It makes you happier. You know, it's like, you know how if you're a parent and you have kids, the kids want to eat like cake or candy, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But as a responsible parent, it's your job to keep them from doing that. not only because it's bad for their health in the long run, but like even in the short term, if they actually did that, they would feel like shit really, really quickly. It's the same reason why just last stream, I talked about how a lot of people have this like finish the plate instinct where they really, really feel like they need to eat all the food in the plate in front of them, even if eating that much food makes them feel sick and they feel worse off than they would have having only eaten like 65% of the plate's contents, right? Humans on their own are not great at doing what's best for them. They're not. Does anyone disagree with this? This is why I don't like that lazy, like, no work, don't judge me bullshit, okay? It's not just about judging people. It's that people will fall into bad ruts and habits without, like, constant self-assessment and critical analysis and effort at self-improvement. That's life. That's the part. That's you. You're born, and then you do stuff, and you die, and in the meantime, the stuff you do, you know, even if you have total control over what you do from birth to death, complete autonomy, that doesn't mean you're going to make the decisions that make you the happiest in the long run, you know? Leaving aside the bullshit LARPy, like, you need to work out and practice self-defense for the revolution, it's just, like, genuinely quite bad looking, I feel, for there seeming to be such a strong trend midst leftists to morally resist the idea of self-improvement. You've seen this, haven't you? I'm not just like rambling into the void on this one. Like this is it. Yeah. Yes, Vaush, I hate it too. I know a lot of these people are young, but I also think a lot of it is a kind of learned helplessness, and a lot of it is people demonstrating a, you know, to use a very broad term, an ideologically self-reinforcing weakness, you know? I think that Freud talked about this. Not Freud, sorry, Nietzsche talked about this, and Contra talked about that in one of her videos, about the idea of an ideology that reinforces an attitude of learned helplessness, where you become, like, meek, or you construct moral defenses of your... Of like a flaw in your character, you know? I think there's like a balance that has to be struck here, but yeah. Notice how this weird anti-self-improvement trend is always just making up people to then defend, or projecting their own, like, feared insecurities, I guess. Yeah. I mean, the big difference for me personally is that I don't work out. I've lost a lot of weight, but it's all been from dieting. I really don't work out except for going on walks, which I guess is kind of working out, but not really. Like, yeah, you know, that's just basic, very basic physical upkeep. And if I see a post online that says something like, yo, you should work out, it's good for you, make your bones and muscles strong, you'll live longer, you'll feel better, I don't look at that and think of it as an attack on me. I just look at it and think it's true. In the same way that you can go online and see advice for a million things that you can agree are true, but you might not necessarily do. Hey, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that. Well, sure, but nobody does everything perfectly, right? People pick and choose what they're going to focus on, and a lot of it is down to what you personally are interested in or comfortable with. So, like, if you see something that you think is good advice, but you don't want to take it or you haven't taken it, that's not a fucking attack on you, right? It's not an attack on your character. But people are insecure. Discipline is an objectively good thing. It is always better to be disciplined than undisciplined, every time, with zero exceptions, because discipline is just the ability to manifest your will. Like, that's it. Like, it is just better, you know? You can be disciplined in a way that allows you to take more advantage of your leisure time, you know, like, easily. Being disciplined helps just across the board. It's just good to be disciplined. But a lot of people think of it in this really like when they think of discipline, they think of this like you have to be like operating on some military doctrine, you know, you have to fold your socks in the morning. By discipline, what you mean is like adhering to this rigid code of arbitrary rules, which isn't. That's not what discipline means. But a lot of people read into that because when they hear something like you should be disciplined, they think about, you know, their parents telling them to clean up their room, and they get upset with me. The problem is too many leftists think discipline is some far right thing that somebody enforces their will onto you. You know, discipline is about enforcing your will on the world, not on other people, not other people's will onto you, you know?